Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to our podcast today. And today we have a special guest, Esther Hillner. Very welcome to you. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, good morning to you from Las Vegas or
Oh,
on the
wow.
other side of the world.
Yes, I've been to Las Vegas once, but it's far away from here. So,
Yes.
tell us a little about your life. How did you get into horses, and what have you done?
That's funny because my parents were not horse people, so I don't know. I think I was just born with the horse bug. Um, but yeah, no, I started riding at, early teens and um working as a working student, just every opportunity that I could spend at the barn and with horses and with learning. And pretty much started taking lessons by the time I was 14 and then was horse showing. So
Yeah.
that was pretty much has been my whole life.
Yeah, I often say that the ones with non equine parents is the best one because you have to fight for it.
Yes. But,
Mhm.
my parents always knew where I was at. They knew I was at the barn. I wasn't getting into
Mm.
trouble because, I
Yeah,
was just infatuated with horses and just being in that environment.
that's right. It's so good for young people to be with horses.
Yeah, and learning, learning the work, learning good work ethics,
Yes.
taking care of another living creature and being responsible for that. So
Yeah.
it does teach you a lot of empathy too, to be, you know, listening to your animals and being more sympathetic to other living beings.
Yes. And be a leader too, in a good way.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what are you doing today then?
Well, it evolved into my profession. So after working the corporate world, I was still, you know, doing the horse showing and thing, as an amateur rider, but it slowly started to evolve into more into the professional aspect. And finally, I ended up like leaving my regular job and turning this into a full-time job. And I've been doing it now for close to 23 years. Um, and I have no regrets. So it's nice being my own boss, but it's also it's nice to be able to take what you love and to make a profession of it. So I feel very, very fortunate. Not everybody has that opportunity.
That's right. That's right.
So, I did a lot of horse showing, and then I started building up my lesson clientele and, also doing different community service things with the horses, working with the Girl Scout program, um, also with the one of the local community colleges and offering horsemanship classes through there. So I've been really active with the community aspect of it too.
Okay. Do you involve the horses in that? I mean the Girl Scouts and that is
Yeah, with the
you
Girl Scouts, it's basically again learning horsemanship and horse care and how to take care, how to groom and safety around the animals. So
okay.
and for the Girl Scouts too, they get like their little patches for different things that they accomplish in Girl Scouts. So and so
Oh,
now it's progressing to um now therapeutic riding is becoming very popular, especially after the pandemic. So the new program that I'm bringing on board is the horse powered reading program, where it's like a tutoring program where we incorporate the horses with the kids and just helping these kids that are just really struggling with school right now. And it was a program that was designed by a teacher that was beginning to see the struggles and the setback that so many kids had after losing all so much time in school.
yeah.
And the wonderful thing about the program is it's not just therapy for kids with attention deficit or dyslexia, but for kids that are just struggling in school. And the fascinating thing that we have found with running this program is, some of these kids are just very nervous in a classroom setting, or they just are so there's just too much distraction in the classroom. And when you put them with the horse, they become more calm, more focused. They're a little bit more at ease, and it makes the learning process a lot easier for them.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you how do you do it? Do they put it into the school lessons, or they come after school,
Well,
or?
what we do is like we have them, the parents, kind of fill out a questionnaire on, like what grade school level the child is at, and just what their struggles are at. What are they, what do they need more help with? And oftentimes it's kind of like through the horse that we find out more that parents don't realize of what's happening with the child, and where they're kind of having difficulties with learning. Like with one student, she gets very nervous in a classroom or reading out loud, and so she got into this habit of just wanting to read as fast as she could to just get through it without really processing, like, what is she actually reading and comprehending what she's reading. Another student, she sometimes has difficulties with words, and then that kind of just totally sets her back, and then she kind of gets frustrated when she gets stuck on different types of words and vocabulary. So it's interesting to see how it affects different kids. We had another one that she has dyslexia, so it's difficult for her to read, but once we broke it down into this process, she was able to start to put words together and be able to associate the letters with the word that she was reading. So it's really remarkable how this program is really going to help out these kids.
I can imagine. Horses are marvelous. You can have them as your psychiatrist, almost.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's really wonderful to see how it's kind of evolving past just the horse riding lessons and therapeutic lessons to now more tutoring and really helping these kids kind of fill this void that is really needed right now.
That's fantastic. But you were talking about you showing the horses. Is it a special breed, or you show a lot of horses, or what is it you are
Yeah,
doing?
my background, I started with the thoroughbreds. When I lived up in Portland, a lot of the horses came off of the racetrack that we 3-day eventing with. So my background, I started out learning dressage first, and then moving into hunters, and then into the 3-day eventing aspect. So at the time, we rode a lot of thoroughbreds throughout my riding career. Then that kind of switched. I had my warm bloods that I had for dressage, and had my Trakehner that I evented in 3-day eventing. And so I really kind of worked with different breeds of horses throughout my showing career. But it's funny how I keep coming back to the thoroughbreds, because that's what I grew up riding. So I still have a very soft spot for taking these off the track thoroughbred horses and retraining them for careers in jumping or dressage. And that's still where my heart is at.
Yes, I heard a lot of these programs you have in USA for the thoroughbreds. I think it's marvelous. It's a very good thing for the horses. They're just not in the industry, and then they is gone.
Right. They were able to find them new careers, and
Yes.
some of them are they're just, to me, they're wonderful. They have great work ethics, and I think just with the right training, they're great. They're great, but they're not for everybody. Some people just don't have the patience either.
No,
So
I reckon that's they are different somehow.
yeah, they're smart. And I
Yeah.
always tell people, I grew up with German Shepherds too, and I'm like, I find them so similar because they both have like very strong work ethics, but not everybody is compatible with them,
No.
so.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, you said you were able to go from your normal work to this. Do you make money in this space?
Well, my corporate work was marketing coordinator. So when I was working in the corporate business, I was doing a lot of business proposal writing, you know, researching a lot of marketing demographics,
Mm-hmm.
putting together events. So it was very, very broad. And I'm fortunate that that background really helped me with basically starting out my business. And it really started out where I was just assisting another trainer and just helping out part time. And at the time, it was never meant to turn into a full time thing. I was just like happy to just do this on the side and still have my corporate job. Um, but also working in the marketing business and in the construction field out here, the economics plays a big part of that. So that means when the economy goes bad, a lot of marketing jobs get laid off, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
back to work looking for another job. So after after the last layoff, I was just like, maybe this is a sign that I'm supposed to maybe, you know, look into starting my own business and pursuing that aspect. And within a few months it just kind of blossomed, and I'm like, okay, maybe the universe just wanted me to go this
Yes.
direction. So I just took the opportunity and went with it, and that was like 23 years ago.
Wow, wow. That's fantastic. So you're still writing, or
Yeah, I'm still writing. The lesson program's so busy that I don't have time to show as much, but
no?
I've been helping with putting together horse shows, clinics, and also just to get my certification to get other new programs added on to my, writing school. So, I think the other aspect too is that I still keep learning and improving, um, because I think that just makes it so much more rounded as far as my business and the information that I can provide to students to make them, better writers and better understanding between them and the horse.
Mm, that's fantastic. Yeah. So you have students all the time, uh, in
Yeah,
all.
I have my program all year round. The summer, in Las Vegas is pretty brutal, so it
Mm,
does tend to slow down in the summer months. We do have to start very, very early, and we have to stop like at 11 because it just gets too hot
yeah.
afterwards. So,
Mm,
but the rest of the time, our weather is pretty nice the rest of the year, so it does make for good riding conditions for the latter part of the year.
mm. Do you have a farm, or a big place, or how is it?
I
Like?
run my business out of another facility, so I don't have to take care of the horses. The boarding establishment does all that, and that just gives me more focus to have the time for my lesson program. I have leased barns before, but as everybody knows, it turns into like it's almost like two jobs, trying
Yes.
to run and manage a barn and then trying to maintain a full, lesson program. It's a lot of work.
Mm,
So I prefer just to focus on the students and the lessons. So
yeah. So it's not your horses either, or it's
no,
you.
actually they are. Yeah,
Okay.
I have 6 of my lesson horses, and then I have clients that have their own horses. So
Mm, yeah. Wow. So you are teaching. Is it dressage, or it's everything you are teaching?
I teach dressage is my basics to everything. So I do have some students that just primarily just want to ride dressage, and then I have some that want to pursue the jumping. With my 3D event, with my 3D eventing background, I do incorporate a lot of dressage work because I think that's like our fundamentals to everything.
Mm,
So a lot of our lessons include dressage. I do a lot of groundwork, cavaletti exercises. We do a lot of gymnastic exercises. So it's not like we are, I try to keep it fun and interesting for the riders and for the horses too.
Yeah, that's great. So is it thoroughbred you have as lesson horses, or you have others?
I have a mix. I have, a Dutch warm blood. I have thoroughbreds. I have a Frisian cross. So I have kind of a variety
Okay,
of everything.
nice. But it's big horses, it's not ponies.
Yeah, I don't do ponies. Most of my program is more for like teenagers and adults. Um, I just find like the teenagers and the adults are more committed and they genuinely want to learn. I find with the kids, especially this generation, it's harder to keep their attention. I think they're involved in so many different activities that I feel like riding really needs like that full commitment. And
Mm,
I think it's just hard when people are spread out so thin with so many different activities.
yeah. So do you go out on hack as well with your students, or you are at
Where
home?
we're kind of landlocked, so we're not able to get out.
Okay.
Um, when I do trail ride is when I'm on vacation. Then I do go trail riding on my breaks. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do miss it. I do miss that aspect of being able to take the horses out and just go out on a trail.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Grand Canyon, just go there. But maybe you
Yeah.
can't with the horses. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some areas I think where you can camp out there.
Mm,
Yeah, Vegas is very different because I'm from Oregon where we had so much country and open space and trails and woods and Las Vegas is very, very different because it's such a desert climate
yeah.
and the farms here are very, very small
Okay.
and we have very limited access to trails to be able to take the horse out unless you have a horse, unless you have a trailer that you can,
Okay.
go up
Yeah.
to Mount Charleston and maybe take your horses up in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. You take what you have. That's it.
Yes.
So, is there anything more you would like to talk about your programs? Do you have
Well, I
shows
think
also?
just
Mm,
yeah, I just think for anybody else that is running a facility is just like look into some of these therapy programs because I think that's a huge niche that is really needed.
mm,
Just to especially for kids, especially kid programs right now because I think it's really needed with what's been happening and past, after what happened with the pandemic. So I think the mental health issue too with the kids is
mm.
something that will really help them with the horses.
Yeah, and that is the next generation. We have to think
Yeah, it
about that.
is.
They must have a real life somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But you have also, you say you have mostly teenagers and adults, but you also have kids, but not for riding, maybe.
Yeah, the kids are for more the horse powered reading programs.
Yes.
So that's kind of where we're filling that niche.
Mhm. Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. How many days do you have customers coming? Are you out there every day, or is it?
I
uh,
was doing like 6 days a week, and then I just felt like it was becoming too much. And so now I teach like 5 days a week and then take 2 days off.
Okay.
And but yeah, I was working 6 days a week for probably a good 20 something years. And you definitely need to have a couple days in that downtime to for yourself.
Mm, yeah. But even if you love your work, it is a work. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
still yeah, it's still a job. And
Mm,
so it's like you do need to mentally decompress too and give yourself a little time off.
mm.
And you got to
Yeah.
remember in the horse business, it's not like an 8-hour job. It can be 12-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
It can be longer, so I don't think people realize the amount of hours that people in the horse industry put in.
No, I don't think so either. I don't know how you have it in the pasture, but here we have the horses outside a lot, and you have to work on the fences and all that. That's a big job.
Yeah, especially when you're running a boarding facility. Yeah,
Mm.
there's always something broken. There's
Yes.
always something that needs to be fixed, or the water's frozen and the water
Mm.
pipes break in the winter time. So,
Yeah, that's right.
but
Yeah,
that's why horse people are resilient.
that's right. So if people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you? Do you have
I have my website, which is talismanfarmlv.com. It's on, so I have my website. I'm also on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. So pretty much everything on social media.
yeah, that's nice. Do
That's
you
kind of the
have
way of the world now, is social media. So
it is, yeah. It's both good and bad. But mostly good, I think. It's
I think
fantastic.
it's great because I
Yeah.
think like you and I connected through Facebook, and I think it's great too that other instructors, we can go on these forums and help each other out and exchange information. So I
Yeah.
think there's some good to it.
And also that put out information around horses, because I think when I was a child, it was more you had the person on the riding school and then you couldn't talk to anybody else. But today you can go into YouTube and you can learn how to approach a horse and all these things. I think it's very good.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely very helpful.
Mm. Yes. All right. Then thank you so much for sharing with us. It's
Well,
interesting.
thank you. And I'm
It's
glad we finally connected.
yeah. So thank you very much, and thank you for you out there who have been listening to this, and please subscribe. It means a lot to us that we can carry on every week with this fantastic guest. So thank you very much for coming here today. It was
And thank you for
uh,
putting this on. This is a great thing.
thank you. It was a pleasure. So
Likewise.
have a nice day.
All right, you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.